Welcome to the Three Man Weave Best Bets Show. It is Spinny Saturday, and we're here to take you through the biggest Saturday slate, well, the biggest any slate of the year thus far, and it happens to be a fantastic one. So many great college basketball games are on today. Fellas, it is a robust slate. The best slate of the year, I think, until maybe like mid-December. I don't know. This might be it,
Till
Jim.
next weekend. Till
Till
next
next weekend.
Saturday. Next
Yes,
Saturday rocks too. But
this is
yeah.
why we have our shows on Saturday, though, Jim.
Yep. Yeah. To tee it up for people. We got some warm-up episodes in weeks
Yeah.
1 through 3, with some real mid-major heavy slates. But now we're hanging out with the big boys, Matthew. We got to talk some major contests. Saw the chat already remarking about certain games that aren't even on the slate. That's how great today is. It's exciting. It's a big one, Matthias.
I love it. Mizzou KU will be the headline of today's discussion. Teaser.
It's on the outline, baby.
I'm the only person who has faith in your Tigers. We'll talk about that later, though. Okay.
We will indeed. And as a reminder, guys, if you're watching the YouTube, which that's the only way you can watch this show, the rundown is in the description below the video. So if you're curious what we're going to talk about, the games we're going to hit outside of the chat mob, check it out there. That's where we're going to go. Jim and I are a little bit tired. We just went to the Andrew McMahon concert last night. Fantastic. He wails. Little sleepy boys, but we're still up for some college basketball. Anyways, takeaways, whatever. Last 2 days have been slow slates. Let's get into the show, fellas. What do you say?
Love it. Perfect. Good.
All right. Here we go. Purdue and Alabama. That's where we're starting. Some would say the best game of the day. Heavyweight battle. The question on everyone's mind, Jim, is who stops Zach Edey for Alabama? What do you think?
Nobody would be my guess. I think both teams have pretty clear routes to points here. Purdue is going to smash inside both through Edey and then just kind of on the glass too. I'm sure Edey will be all over the boards, but Caleb First, Kaufman, Wren, Mason Gillis, those guys are very active. And I just don't really trust the Alabama interior defense. Pringle, I think, is still suspended. It's a lot of Grant Nelson, a lot of Mohamed Wag, a lot of Stevenson, none of whom really get me excited the way Charles Bediako did in there. So, yeah, that's an issue for Purdue. But then, Matt, on the other end, Alabama's got a couple guys that are very comfortable in ball screens, drop coverage. Edey's going to be sitting back below the free throw line, pull up jumpers for days. Now, that's not how Alabama likes to do it. They hate the mid-range, but I think they'll take them because they know they have to against this team. And that's the only way to start getting defenders to suck in and open up threes. So I think there's going to be points, Matt. I don't know if the pace quite gets there for the over, but I do lean that way in terms of total. And I overall lean Purdue. They've been awesome in neutral site games that are not the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I've been bet down, Jim, to 160. So good time to hop it on the over if you agree with what you're saying. Just context for this game's at Coca-Cola Coliseum, Kai, everyone's favorite venue up there in Toronto. Zach Edey returned to the north of the border territory in which he was, groomed into the dominant force that he is today. I don't know. I don't really have any angle to go with that. It's just interesting to see Purdue's been bet under the last 3 games. Alabama, not a fun team to go under with. Maybe this game turns into more of a crawl, but I'm with Jim. I feel like there's just a ton of points. Like
They were
efficiency
right
should
about
be
it
to the
against
roof.
Iowa. Iowa's not really an under team either, but the market was right about it.
Yeah.
Purdue -6. Yeah, nothing on side for me, Kai. I think it's a good line.
Yeah, -6, good line. Yeah, neutral site, Canada, fellas. Yeah, Alabama's defense, that's kind of where I started the conversation, but look at their defense against power competition. Clemson, 1.2 points per possession. Oregon, 1.17. Ohio State, 1.28. Alabama just cannot stop anybody. They can't even stop mid-major teams from scoring a bunch of points. So I think Purdue scores at will here. Alabama's backcourt athleticism needs to kind of come to the forefront in this game and obviously try to bother the Boiler backcourt. But I lean towards Purdue getting it done. Edey getting it done in Canada. 6, again, seems pretty right to me. So we move on to the Holy War. Utah is hosting BYU. Now, the BYU Cougars are favored by 4 here, Matthew. But that could all change if Brandon Carlson is announced in my opinion, home run spot for the Utes if Carlson plays. If he's out, I am not touching Utah. Your thoughts?
Well, the Craig Smith quotes about Carlson sounded very ominous, like he's really not even close to healthy. And even if he plays, I can't imagine we're getting 100% healthy and effective Carlson. I mean, he's important. They gave about 83 points to Southern Utah last game without him. Like defensively, he's just a wall at the rim. And offensively, yeah, though his ability to stretch it, score inside is huge, especially against BYU, whose bigs are not all the way healthy, and they're not exactly enormous either. I'm just not that impressed with BYU's strength of schedule so far, Jim. Like, we're nitpicking to the nth degree here with BYU, but beating San Diego State on a home court doesn't really look that great. And yeah, they've beaten a lot of good mid-majors by 1 billion points. They really haven't beaten anyone else that like is super impressive. So I'm with Kai. I like Utah a lot in this spot. Just the Carlson stuff has me spooked, so I stayed away.
Yeah, I'm not touching this game without Carlson. Per CBB analytics, they're 20 points worse
Yep.
on defense when he's off the floor. I mean, he like completely holds it down. Lovering is also important, and he's in there at least, so they do have some size. And Keita's getting healthier, and Ben Carlson's in there. But Brandon Carlson is like the dynamic shot blocker that can also hit threes. They don't really have anybody else that can do that. Few teams do. So yeah, with the way BYU's rolling, I actually maybe I wouldn't say I lean that way because the number is scary, but if Brandon Carlson's out, I think the over's a great bet because I don't know how they get stops. BYU can score, they can shoot from like all 5 positions basically. So not touching side unless Carlson plays, then would lean towards Utah, but being banged up concerns me. And if he's out, Kai, like I said, I like the over.
Yeah. You mentioned CBB analytics. I had that stat too, Jim. Yeah, almost 21 points per 100 possessions better on defense when he is on the floor. He is a massive impact. He's an impact offensively too. I know the on-off numbers aren't quite as kind, but defensively he matters so much for this team. And we know what they looked like last year when Carlson was out as well. They just weren't very good. Matt, you mentioned the strength of schedule. Yeah, BYU, 290th in the country in strength of schedule. They cannot get any higher in the metrics right now. This is peak BYU value right now. Probably a good time to fade if Carlson's in the lineup. Again, we all agree you cannot bet Utah if Carlson's out. So keep your eye on the lineups if you're curious or want to bet that game. There are 100 other games, though. So we move on. TCU and Clemson. This is the undercard to the Alabama, Purdue, Canada heavyweight matchup. TCU taking a little bit of money. I say that in this manner because I'm a little bit surprised because I like Clemson here, Jim. TCU is -2. I just love this Clemson team. Very balanced. Brownell has proven he's not a joke of a coach. He's pretty solid. And PJ Hall is an All-American candidate. He literally is an All-American candidate. Number 5 in KenPom Player of the Year right now, Jim. And TCU has played the worst schedule in the country. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean that's one of the bigger angles for me is like Clemson's super tested. TCU is not. They played nobody, like you said, just a complete joke of a schedule so far. The one thing with Clemson, Matt, they played 3 big games in a row and won all 3 at Bama, at Pitt, and home against arch rival South Carolina. Like home run effort after home run effort. Do they have another one in the tank here? That's my mild concern, but I just don't know that we've seen it from TCU. And that Clemson game over Alabama is huge. That's a team that loves to get out in transition and run. Clemson, TCU wants to do the same thing. Clemson already showed they can handle that. So I'm with you, Kai. I'm anti-market with this one, unless there's some news I don't know about that is causing TCU to steam up like that. But Clemson just played. I don't think anybody was hurt outside of the ones we already know about with Jack Clark and Hemingway. So definitely lean towards Clemson there, Matt. I might even end up dabbling it.
I'm torn. I kind of like your point though on the spot advantage for TCU in terms of like Clemson maybe running out of gas or just due for like a B or C quality effort, not an A+ effort, which we've seen them give consistently. I mean, they might just be that good. I believe that. I think TCU though, coming off the near defeat, probably should have been a defeat at Georgetown with the head scratching late call there. I think that kind of awakens them. And despite the fact that they played nobody, I know I'm kind of talking on both sides of my mouth with, in regards to the Utah BYU take I just had earlier, but I think TCU kind of rises here. Again, of note, this is the Coca-Cola Coliseum, Toronto, leg 2 of the doubleheader there in up north.
Matt, you got any totals data on that venue?
I don't think there's many games there. It's a fun little venue though. Kind of has an old Coliseum feel, meant for hockey. Maybe if we're looking at for a precedent, the Quebec unders went way under in the Colgate.
Wasn't even Quebec, wasn't that like
the eastern province? I don't know my provinces, Kai. I know California, Kai. I don't know Canadian provinces.
So I do like Clemson, like I said, at the top of the bat, and strength of schedule is a reason. Their guards, though, they're old. They're sure-handed. They're poised. They can handle this pressure that TCU tends to dish out against opponents. And also, if TCU is forced to hit outside shots, they're going to struggle. They're not a great shooting team, and Clemson is really good inside this year, interior defense-wise. So I like the Tigers here, man. I'm punching back a little bit against the market here. Clemson +2, if you can find it. All right. Illinois, Tennessee. Great power conference battle here. Tennessee -7. Holy moly mackerel. That is a high line, but gosh, it's a great spot for Tennessee. And I wanted to bet Tennessee here. The number got out of hand. Matt, Illinois is off a home run effort against your Owls. FAU literally cannot play any better than Illinois played against FAU. Your thoughts?
I respect home court too much to bet Illinois, but man, my gut is just screaming to bet the Illini here. I know they're off that big FAU game. I think that's more of a wow, we learned that Illinois is legit type of edge than it's like Illinois is due for a kind of a setback here. And that tug of war, mental gymnastics we always play in handicapping. I like the Illini, Kai. It feels like an ugly game, Jim. I think it's been bet down a little bit, mid 140s. I know Illinois was dynamic in transition against FAU. I just think this game comes to more of a crawling halt, even though we've seen both teams look to push. I just think the efficiency and the vaulted defenses rules the day in this matchup. So again, another point I think in the dog's favor. So no official bet, but I like the Illini, the burnt orange.
Yeah, I guess George Mason was really the game that sets up like this for not burnt orange.
Not burnt orange. That's Texas.
That's Texas. Sorry. Yeah. What's Illinois orange?
Orange
color code. I'll look at the hex code. Go ahead, Jim. Sorry.
That's what it is. The George Mason game is really the home get right spot for Tennessee, but I feel like this is also kind of that. They've dropped 3 of their 4 big games so far this year. And now, again, they've been sitting at home in Knoxville after going to Maui and then going to North Carolina. Whereas Illinois has that emotional win at MSG and now comes for another road game after this. I think that's a much better spot for Tennessee. And unlike FAU, Tennessee has guys that can guard Damask and Shannon, like the Meshack, JJJ combination. That duo, Kai looked it up, very effective when on the court together, but the offense tanks. So maybe that does actually help the under. And Tennessee's transition defense is, sorry, FAU, but it's better than FAU's. So I don't think Shannon's going to get downhill all the time like he did in that game. This is when we're just looking at it. I was like, whoa, 7.5. That's a lot. But I just feel like it's probably right. It's a little like Marquette giving 7.5, 8.5 to Texas. Like I just trust the home team a lot more right now. Well, that's not fair, Illinois. But the spot just sets up so well. And I think it probably Tennessee would be my bet if I had to make one.
Yeah, Illinois' defense is legit. Number 1 in the country in 2-point field goal percentage defense. That's real. And that is key against Tennessee, who not the best outside shooting team, better than TCU, and more willing to shoot. It is Underwood's best defense since 2021. That's when Illinois was a 1 seed. So fantastic elite defense right now. But it's mostly feel here. It's mostly the spot for Tennessee, the physicality, like Jim said, that they can throw at Illinois. I mean, that's a lot for anybody to handle. But the spread, it feels high, man. The market got crushed overnight, fellas. Lots of unfortunate movements there, but we digress. Chat Mob, part 1. Put those questions in the chat if you got them. Jim's rounding them up. What do we got?
Right back to you, Kai, for a game at the Barn. A relatively early tip here. Minnesota hosting Florida Gulf Coast. Officially announced no Dawson Garcia, so the line has come down a little bit. But FGCU's had some injury, illness questions of their own. What do you think in this one?
I grabbed FGCU at 10. I see it's down to 8.5. I probably wouldn't take it 8.5. Florida Gulf Coast is really underperforming this season. They are a lot better than what their efforts have shown. They're a lot more talented. Andre Ware is out for the year. That is a big blow, but they should get Isaiah Thompson back this game. I think he was just sick in his last game that he missed. Garcia out is huge for Minnesota. Didn't seem to matter against Nebraska when he went out, but I think game 2 matters more. So I like Gulf Coast here.
All right, going to Matthew for an early tip. Jumping the line with this one because it starts in 15 minutes. In Atlanta, Mississippi State and Tulane, Matthias. Injury questions galore for Tulane with Kevin Cross being out last game. Mississippi State's coming off 2 really bad efforts. What do you see with this one?
Yeah, Chris Jans was holding back like this internal rage in the press conference. He's really frustrated with his team. Losing to Southern at home will do that to Mr. Jans. Kevin Cross, I think, should play here, Jim. That's enormous for Tulane. So I think if he's in there, I'm going to stay away. Market loved Mississippi State. It's been bet back a little bit now. I don't know, -7 with the way Mississippi State's playing seems too high, so I passed.
Yeah, I thought about over, but it's such an early tip. I feel like it's going to be super sluggish to start. Maybe a live over if they come out slow. I could see that. Tulane games tend to ping pong in the second half. Next up, Kai, Stephen McGahee asked about Syracuse at Georgetown. Big rivalry game, one of the many rivalry games. This one didn't actually make the slate. What do you think between these two? Syracuse has been really up and down this year.
Just a gut, Georgetown. My number didn't really support it, but I think Ed Cooley gets it done here. Obviously, a huge rivalry game. I'm not that scared of Syracuse not their defense or their offense. Frankly, I've watched them play. They're not a cohesive team quite yet, and I think Georgetown gets the emotional win here.
Yeah, I'm not betting the Syracuse kids on the road. Haha, kids, Kai.
Haha,
So
kids.
super young team. I'm scared of them on the road all year. Matthew, Eastern Washington's headed to Air Force Academy. We know that the air troops have added a big piece recently that has mattered quite a bit. Anything for you on this game?
Yeah, Rightus Petritus. How do I say his name, Jim? Can I get a pronunciation
Rightus
check there?
Petritus. Oh yeah,
Very good. That's a all name team, by the way. Underrated name. Yeah, he's been awesome. Like he's been game changing since he's come back. I think the market's betting it based on his reinsertion, but Ewash, like they finally had a break in their like murderous row of a schedule. They played Cincinnati close. They played Washington State close. Like they're a good team. Catching 8 at Air Force. I know it's a tough place to play, but I hopped all over the 8. So me and my anti-market counterpunchers will go to war against the Air Force money.
8 does feel a little high there looking at it. All right, Kai, another question from Nash 2. Colgate at Vermont. Vermont has got plenty of injury questions, but they are 2.5 or 3-point favorite at home. Anything for you here? This, 2 dynamite mid-majors that have dominated their leagues.
Yeah, nothing here. I know Veretto and Shamir Bogues were day-to-day for Vermont. 2 starters, really, really important for this team. They still beat Northeastern without them, but probably would have covered had they, or the last second shot by Northeastern to cover. Yeah, I got nothing here, Jim. The line's right, in my opinion, if all healthy.
Yeah, you could argue that's their 2 best and most important players.
Yeah.
They've got Deloney, long matter too, but got to see if they're in. I could see that swinging a bet one way or the other on that game. Let's do a couple more before we head back to the outline. Matthew, the Gales of St. Mary's have been one of the worst second half teams in the entire country this year. They are headed to Elevation in Fort Collins, taking on Colorado State. I see that there have been some buyers on St. Mary's today. Numbers down to about 4, mostly across the board. Are you one of those people that's buying St. Mary's on the road?
Nope, not trusting them right now. I can't. They're a whack-a-mole team. It's weird to think of a St. Mary's team as a whack-a-mole, but that's sort of how they perform, both game to game and then half to half. Jimmy talked about how they've just been sort of a train wreck in second halves here. At 4, I certainly can't endorse it. I mean, I think if anything that goes any lower, I might even endorse the Rams, though they have some injury question marks, I believe. Isaiah Stevens and a couple other guys there on the periphery.
I think Stevens is fine, right? But they got the wrist injury for their other.
Stevens has a hip pointer he's dealing with. He'll play, but he's not 100%.
Lake and one other, I thought. Josiah Lake and
Jackson?
one other guy I thought was banged up.
No, it's the guy who transferred from Illinois State. Sorry, I'm getting
Strong
now.
Josiah Strong.
He's out.
Strong.
The wrist issue. Yeah, I kind of feel like that matchup is good for Colorado State. St. Mary's doesn't help off shooters, so they make you play in the 2-man game, pick and roll, and it's like Isaiah Stevens is going to eat against that coverage. And man, that St. Mary's offense is decrepit. So I would punch back there too.
Worth noting, Colorado State beat St. Mary's at St. Mary's last year.
Yeah, potentially some revenge. All right, 2 more questions, and we'll go back to the outline. Kai, your question is Ohio State and Penn State. Buckeyes laying 5.5 on the road at a tough Penn State team to figure out.
Really tough. I respect Big Ten home court a lot here, but I really like this Ohio State team. I lean their way, trust them a lot more right now. That's the direction I would lean towards. Nothing.
KenPom has an 8. How about that? I kind of agree with Mr. Ken on that one. Penn State, yeah. Yikes.
Penn State's maddening. Like, great, you competed with Maryland, who is broken right now.
I'm seeing 4.5 out there too. Yeah, that's getting pretty low for me.
4.5, 5, yeah. All right, Matthias, your alma mater is in Atlanta as well. Taking on Auburn, question from Larry Gibson and a couple others right here. Line around 7.5. I saw Chloe Ware is on the injury report as questionable for this one. I'm sure he's probably going to play, but I mean, that is full panic mode if he's out, correct?
Yes, against Jonai Broom, for sure. I would be very worried. I actually took Auburn first half here, just Indiana and SEC country against an Auburn team that'll be angry with lots of time to prep and that pent-up emotion after losing at App State. I think the guard discrepancy here is just too much for IU to handle. I know they've looked good against Maryland. Okay, are we that impressed? And Michigan. Okay, are we that impressed? So I think Auburn kind of exposes IU's backcourt depth today.
All right, that is it for now. We got a whole host of other questions that I'll move down to chat mob part 2. But Kai, we can go back to the outline for now.
Wisconsin at Arizona. Another fantastic game. The Wildcats are favored by 9.5 points, 10 in some places. But I think it's Arizona's game, fellas. They might be the best team in the country. So much firepower offensively. They're a top 5 defensive team as well. Jim, your Badgers have been excellent. obviously very good on defense, and Store has really opened up their offense. What do you think?
Yeah, and I believe somebody commented on our YouTube video, our podcast, about how good John Blackwell has been, the freshman from Wisconsin. Kind of opened my eyes too. I didn't realize how much he's been playing, how good he has been. But I still lean Arizona here. I think it's a great home court, tough travel for the Badgers. And if you can speed them up a little bit, I think that's real trouble. Wisconsin's been really good since that Tennessee effort, and I guess Tennessee and Providence back to back. But Matt, I think it runs out of steam here. I think we just see Arizona really assert themselves as what I think is the best team in the country that can win in multiple ways. And I think Arizona can give them a lot of issues.
Yeah, it seems like Wisconsin's due for like we said, a C or a D plus effort here, just going across country or halfway across the country at home. I am a little worried though, Arizona not putting Michigan State away emphatically. That game was in their back. It was a neutral, right? It wasn't at home, but it was in their backyard. Palm Springs. Given how much better I think we agree that Wisconsin is right now than Michigan State, and how Wisconsin can be a cockroach to put away. I'm not excited to lay 10. That's for sure. I think 7 or 8 for those of you overnight eager beavers out there. Congrats to your good number. I am certainly not laying 9, 10. I think that's way too many against these buzz cut badges.
Agree with that in terms of number. I can't lay it where it's now.
I would still take Arizona, I think. I really think they're awesome. Big pace battle, obviously. Arizona, top 7 offensive tempo in the country versus Wisconsin, bottom 5 offensive tempo. But the Badgers ran with Tennessee, which I think that shows willingness to do that. I have to think their game plan is slow it down, but at Arizona, I think it's tough to do. More talent, more speed, plenty of size to combat the Badger front court. So I still kind of like Arizona at 9.5, 10, even though it seems crazy high. All right, Crosstown shootout. Here we go. Cincy at Xavier, one of the best rivalries in college basketball. Right around pick. I've seen Cincy -1. I've seen Xavier -1. It's all over the place. Throw the record books out, I say, Matthew. Xavier would love you to, because they're struggling. They've lost 3 straight. Oakland and Delaware both beat them at home. They're in danger of missing the NCAA tournament on this early December 9th date. What do you think of this game?
Yeah, Cintas has been a house of horrors for Cincinnati, but Jim, shouts to my buddy Matt Robinson. He pointed out that the road team has won 2 of the last 3. I tend to
the road team has not been Cincinnati in those games.
Right. So you kind of have to slice that data to fit your narrative. In my narrative, Kai, Cincinnati is the emphatically better team, I should say, today. I'm not scared of the Cintas home court. This Xavier team, while they did rise against Houston, play very competitively, I think Cincy wins this game. I think this is like we need to break through and show that we're the better program right now. The momentum that Miller has building, Aziz back in the lineup, yada, 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 all that stuff. I think Cincy gets this one today. Don't be scared of the home court. Lay it with Cincy. Better team. Or lay 1 point pick. Take Cincy.
Which Miller, Matt? They're both coached by a Miller.
Wes, excuse me. The younger Miller.
Cincinnati hasn't won at Cintas since 2001. It's been a completely, you said house of horrors. It's really bad, and they play there every other year. I am torn between the spot. Like, I think the Delaware loss for Xavier was partially the thing that matters to us is our home run massive game coming up against Cincinnati. But I'm with Matt. I mean, Cincinnati's clearly better. They haven't played a top 100 team yet. They're not tested. There's a lot of tug of war going on here. Ultimately, if I had to bet it, I would take Xavier at home. But I'm concerned that Cincinnati is categorically better, so I'm not going to fade that, Kai, even with that big home angle.
Yeah, since he's done no wrong. They've only played one power team. That was Georgia Tech, and they smoked them right before
35.
Right before Georgia Tech kind of got right back on track. It's their second true road game. I know it's in the same city, but their other true road game, they were taken to overtime by Howard. So not great thus far on the road for Cincinnati. But without Xavier's front line, with Fremantle and Hunter out, it's a bloodbath inside. There's too much size, physicality. Cincy's going to own them on the glass. But I do think it's more than the matchups here. I think Cintas has juice, Matt. I respect Cintas' home court. I actually lean towards Xavier in an emotional win. I did not take anything here, but would not be surprised if they win this game. All right, 2 more on the rundown, then more chat mob. UCLA is going to Villanova. The Wildcats, -3.5, -4. They took a little bit of money. Long travel for UCLA, obviously. No Burka for UCLA. But the story of Villanova, Jim, is no Justin Moore. And we saw plenty of this team without Moore last season. It wasn't great, but are they different this year?
Not super different. I mean, he's the one guy that's like off the bounce really scares me and can play in ball screens. They typically just want to run a ball screen to get a mismatch and then force you to double team or play through the mid post with Eric Dixon, especially. Matt, I did not like the box score after Justin Moore went out last game. Why is Jordan Longino taking like 15 shots more than anybody else on the team? He had the ball in his hands on the final possession at K-State. I just, that's not great for me. I think he's solid. He's not a lead ball handler for this good of a team. I was hoping Armstrong would step into that role and didn't. So I lean Villanova at home, a big cross-country travel versus for UCLA. But I was impressed by their defense against Marquette in the Maui opener. And I think they have that degree, that gear to them. I just need to make sure Sebastian Mack is in there. This one is ultimately going to be a sit out. Just, again, kind of like Cincinnati, Xavier, too many things pulling me in opposite directions.
I'm on Nova, and I feel really confident about it, not because of Nova at all. You could talk me, you can convince me about Nova concerns are very alarming, but like no one goes into Bramlage in the octagon. No one wins there. I mean, it's a hard place to win. I mean, it took them to overtime.
They should have won.
They probably should have won. So, Tyler Perry, he's just an insane circus shot maker. Now they're back home catching UCLA. Yeah, they've had a ton of time off to prep, but here's a fun fact for you, Mr. McKeon. Mick Cronin, since arriving in UCLA, is 23-31 against the number with 4+ days off, and he's 14-24 against the number with the rest advantage. So maybe that's just noise, but maybe I'm not going to put as much stock into Cronin with like some master plan here. Nova's the better team. They're more talented. They're older. I think they kind of rally around the loss and like they want to, play well for their boy Justin Moore. I'm not going to defend Kyle Neptune as like a savant coach here, but I think too much sets up well for Nova. Just make mid-30s from threes, please. Wildcats. Like I don't need like a
take a ton of them.
5 of 35 for 4. Just give me 10 of 35. That's all I need today. That's probably enough to get a cover here.
Yeah, and Nova's dropped 3 straight. They need this game like blood. Probably should have beaten K-State. Sorry,
Matt. 10 of 35 is bad. It's really bad.
That's fine. I think it's good enough though. I don't need like
it's
a disastrous.
Like 30%.
That's fine. 10 of 30 is fine. 12 of 32, something in that realm.
We don't know why Villanova lost to the Philly schools. That's pretty inexcusable. I think I know the answer, but this team is so talented, right? And Neptune, come on, man. It's hard to defend you if you're losing these games with this type of talent. Cronin, clearly the better coach in this matchup, but I think UCLA really does lack firepower offensively. They're very young. There's no true stars here. But that defense, Jim's right. It's been impressive, and they will own the pace, and they will try to own the pace, and Villanova's okay with playing a half-court game. I do lean towards Villanova here getting back on track, but I'm less confident than my buddy Matthew on the Cats.
I know. God, maybe I should be so confident.
Okay, last game on the rundown before more chat mob, and then we'll make up some best bets. I got to figure out which one mine is. Everything's moved so much this morning, fellas. Mizzou at Kansas. Yes, we're going to talk this game. It's one of the best rivalries in college basketball history. Okay, take that to the bank. Now, it hasn't felt like that recently. Number one, the rivalry game just came back 2 years ago, and Mizzou has gotten throttled in both matchups since it came back. And Jim, Kansas is laying 13.5 for good reason. As a biased Mizzou fan, Jim, I say bet the Tigers at your own peril. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think our boys are in trouble a little bit here. Motivated favorite Kansas scares me quite a bit against a Mizzou team that, yes, they won at Pitt. Yes, they got the Wichita win. I just don't think they've looked together, cohesive, like their lineups are figured out. It's still a little bit disheveled to me. It's super reliant on Shawn East creating off the bounce. And Kansas has DeJuan Harris and Kevin McCullough, 2 guys they can throw on him and completely take him out of his game. I think Mizzou kind of struggles to score, Matt, but I do think tempo gets up and down, so I lean the over because of that. But I think Kansas is going to continue enjoying putting a whooping on our alma mater, unfortunately.
I like Mizzou, and I know it's a stupid bet because Bill Self loves to put the sledgehammer to the Tigers, but I kind of like the matchup. Like I look at Kentucky and how they went really small, and Kentucky just couldn't chase them over the floor. I think Mizzou can replicate that to a lesser extent. And they also have my guy Connor Vanover, the ace up the sleeve, who looked really good last game. I think he's going to be in for 20 productive minutes today. I think you just need a couple of difference makers for Mizzou. Find a couple of mismatch holes. And Kansas, like I know they beat UConn, but I think this matchup's just a very funky matchup for them. And I just don't think they're like really in a position right now with their lack of depth, the lack of trust Self has in those bench guys to beat teams by margin. So I'm sort of shorting KU as like a mega home favorite right now.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I mean, Kentucky had guys that just went supernova in that game. We were there, and Kansas still won. I thought that was impressive for Kansas. The problem is Mizzou has nobody to guard Dickinson. It's going to be horrible for the Tigers. Vanover, he's going to get crushed. He's probably going to foul out.
We'll stretch him out. We'll stretch him on the other end, though, baby.
And Bill Self does want to kill Mizzou, which I think is another scary reason to back the dog, because they're not going to take their foot off the gas, and they don't have depth, like you said. They're not going to put in their bench because they don't have a bench. Mizzou needs to be hot in this one. I think over is actually the play here. I think KU will try to run it up. I can see this game kind of devolving into a track meet, up and down pace. Lots of fouls on Mizzou, of course, not on Kansas. It's at Allen Fieldhouse. I lean towards KU on the spread. I've learned my lesson. I took the Tigers last year. No, thank you.
It's come down the last 30 minutes, looks like. Some Mizzou money down to 12.5, 13. I think it was at 14.
Yeah, I mean, it's still pretty high.
Good luck.
Yeah, I'd just say good luck to you. I'll say that.
Thank you. I'll need it.
I don't think that's true in the chat. Dickinson suspended? No,
he's not.
That's not. That was a fake report.
John Rothstein.
Oh, I hope it's true.
John Rothstein.
Let's perpetuate this. Oh, John Rothstein. He's always.
Can we stop with the fake Twitter stuff? These guys are losers. What do they have to like? All right, Jim, go ahead.
Yeah, whole bunch of chat mob games if you want to get to those. Almost the whole alphabet worth in my outline here. Matt, I'll start with you. Santa Clara and New Mexico in Las Vegas. Jamal Mashburn out for New Mexico. Carlos Marshall, who knows, probably out for Santa Clara. What do you think?
I like New Mexico. The guard depth they have is just astounding. I know Santa Clara is kind of a tough, profiles as a tough doggy, but I like the Lobos. It feels like their numbers keep getting higher, and you think that looks too high, and then they beat teams by comfortable margin. Beating UCSB with AJ Mitchell was damn near impressive in my opinion. So.
New Mexico has been defending too. Toppin has given them like a rangy, multi-positional guy they just like haven't had the last couple of years.
And Whispers, Mashburn's like their biggest liability defensively, so they're actually better without him defensively. So
yep. Dent in for him is a major upgrade. All right, Kai, Towson versus UMBC. They actually Kelly asked about total a little bit here. The fastest team versus the slowest team in the country. I kind of like the over. I think UMBC gets everybody moving. Yeah, Towson gets Nenda Tark in there, a guard creator that they desperately needed.
Yeah, I would definitely lean over. Spread's gotten out of hand. I mean, 7. This spread was 3 or 4 to start.
people are betting the waiver guys so hard. Like after waiver, bet up 4 points. Waiver for Tark, bet up 4 points. I did think it was really low to start. I liked Towson at the opener, but I mean 7's too much to lay. Yeah, Tark is great, but he's not. I don't think he's 4 points to the line. But he's definitely an over lean in UMBC. Yeah, like Jim said. They can run anybody up. Yep. Matthew, in-state battle in Massachusetts. Minutemen hosting UMass Lowell. Lowell's been quite good this season, but have come back down to earth a little bit. I believe Lowell got the win last year in this rivalry. I'm just verifying right now. Yes, they did at UMass. So revenge on the mind of the Minutemen. What do you think?
Market must like that angle, but up to 6 now. I think Lowell's like all the way legit. I know their recent results have been very head scratching.
It's because they've had Koulibaly out. He's really important.
Koulibaly is
super key.
Their big rim protector. Yep. Man, I still think 6'7" is a massive number. Like they have plenty of other talent besides him. I know he's an important piece up front, and UMass sort of that's their strength with Cohen up there in the front line. But I think if it keeps going high, maybe 7. I'll be running with the Riverhawks. What are they called?
It is Riverhawks, but I think Koulibaly is one of the most important players in the country. They beat Stonehill to his team. They beat Stonehill by 6, and they lost to Merrimack without him so far. It's 2 horrible efforts.
Yeah, and they had major shooting luck going their way early. No one was making threes against them. So, all right, Kai, UTEP and Oregon, the Miners going out west to deep in the woods. Oregon's been banged up, but my boy Shellstad emerging. Anything for you on this game?
Nothing for me. It felt high at first, but no confidence in UTEP and no feel for Oregon without their big guys.
Yeah, someday Joe Golding will have a team that can shoot, but that is not this day. That team cannot shoot. All right, Matthew, Northern Iowa, one of our most enraging teams, kind of a whack-a-mole squad for us. They're headed to Toledo, who we never fade. Toledo, -3.5 in this one. What do you got?
This is one where I know Toledo's the right side. I'm going to recommend Toledo to the masses. Toledo will win comfortably, and you and I will kind of give you that sort of blah performance that we've seen on multiple occasions this year, but I won't make any money off it because I'm too afraid to bet against the UNI version that shows up occasionally. That's really good. All that is to say, bet Toledo. I think it's the right side here. It's sort of a roadie, who cares, non-conference game for them. And Toledo's good. I mean, I know they're different than last year. They're still good, though.
Yeah. Kai, SLU has been not great this year, but they competed at Drake with a very, very shorthanded roster. They remain shorthanded. Now they're hosting Hofstra. The Pride are a 3.5-point favorite on the road with the Bills.
Yeah, I've kind of given up trying to blindly fade SLU. It's not because I don't think they're bad, because I do think they're bad, but they've had some weird late covers. Their value in the market could not be any lower right now. So these spreads are out of hand every single time. Drake laying 15.5. Come on. I mean, ridiculous.
Big fat loser for all those of you who grabbed the 12s and the 13s and the 14s. Lose.
But I liked it too at that price. That's the thing. I wanted to fade SLU, and it was a force for sure. Now 3.5 for Hofstra. I think Hofstra can absolutely cover this game, but I'm not on it. I'm kind of going away from the SLU thing.
All right, couple questions about Longwood, Delaware State total. Surprised multiple people talking this one in different directions too in the chat. I think Kelly and yeah, people like in different sides of this. I've got nothing on that total. I don't know if either of you two do, but I have no lean either way. So I'm just gonna let
what was the game?
Word out.
Delaware
State.
Oh,
Delaware
I was on the total the first game. It was double overtime.
Rematch.
But
yeah, right.
I'm pretty sure that under lost in regulation. So, and they pointed out 54 free throws in the first game. Yeah, that's the reason to stay away from the under, I think. It's going to be the exact same thing. Free throw fest, the most annoying thing for an under ever.
All right, Kai, Kentucky and Penn. This is not at the Palestra. This is at Wells Fargo. So neutral site in Philadelphia here. Somebody said it feels like an NCAA tournament game. I kind of like that. Like the big favorite, neutral site, big basketball environment. What do you think on that game? Kentucky laying around 13?
13.5. Slightly into Penn, just for the coaching matchup and the Ivy double-digit dogs that are good. I like that usually. Didn't take anything, though. Kentucky's still very real.
I bet the under at a slightly higher number.
You like Kentucky,
Penn slows it down.
They wax Penn. Yeah, I think Penn. I don't think Penn's up to this game. I just the Wells Fargo sucks any home court out of the building. Like Palestra, different story.
It'll probably be pro Kentucky crowd the way that fan base travels.
Yep.
Matthew, Dayton is hosting Troy. Mr. Scott Cross, typically a very feisty dog. The Flyers are 13.5-point favorites at UD Arena. Anything for you on that game?
Kind of like Dayton. They've seen pressure twice this year. They shredded it against St. John's. They struggled with it, though, against SMU. I like it. At least they've seen it before, and Troy's pressure is good, but not that good. Also with the additional rest because they had the UNLV cancellation. So I think it's a good spot for Dayton here. I just don't trust Dayton laying huge numbers. I don't know why I don't. I just don't.
I don't either. They're slow, methodical. It's tough for them to cover sometimes unless they have an awesome defensive performance, which they typically do. But all right, Kai, Stephen F. Austin laying 1.5 at another kind of team that makes us mad, Wyoming. Obviously, pretty good home court advantage there with elevation and tough travel. Are you siding with that home court? Or are you going with SFA?
I don't know. I guess I lean Wyoming, but I'm done with Wyoming also. They're incredibly stupid team. They make a lot of mistakes, but if you bet against them, they'll show up. So I lean off.
Heavy Wyoming, but Cott is going to turn the ball over 12 times against SFA's pressure.
This is the biggest stay away on the slate today. I actually had that noted in my sheet. Literally the biggest stay away for me. Who the heck knows here?
Do they offer a Quellcott turnover props? Because over.
Hammer it over. The guy can't dribble, and they pressure like crazy. All right, Matt. A late night nightcap in-state rivalry that I'm surprised didn't make the outline. Gonzaga at Washington. I guess I'm not surprised it didn't make it, but Gonzaga, this number's been moving up and down, kind of a tug of war in the market, right around 4. Anything for you on that game?
Yeah, I mean, Washington's been sort of an over darling. Like this one got bet up to 163. They're playing faster and they can't guard anybody. I kind of like the Zags here, but I'm sort of respecting the quasi home spot of the Huskies. I'm not
it's home.
It's home. Sorry, it's close to Gonzaga, I guess, close-ish in state. I'm not gonna bet the Zags, but I feel like I should at 4.
I bet the
bet
Zags.
down a little bit. Good for you.
Took it at 3.5. Yeah. So I'd think I said market. Here's my right hook. Kai, in Las Vegas, Nevada is playing Drake neutral site game here. Drake, like you said, coming off that kind of disappointing effort against shorthanded SLU. Nevada also a little bit sleepy against UC Davis last time. Do you see an angle on this game at all?
I think the market betting Nevada was the right side. I think Nevada -3 was the way I leaned. It's a legit team. The Mountain West is really good this year, the top of the league. I leaned their way. Drake has not been super impressive this year at all.
I lean Drake. I didn't see that I'd seen 3 last, so I might have to end up jumping in there. I faded Nevada a lot, though, to very mixed results.
They've been awesome this
Kai,
year.
right back to you. Big old rivalry in the DMV area. James Madison laying 6.5 at Old Dominion. I'm just going to say I think Old Dominion is maddening and dumb and fouls like crazy. I have to lean James Madison, but maybe you get a big effort. What do you think?
Yeah, I wanted to take James Madison. This is a huge rivalry, though. And it's kind of like, the other rivalry games when it's at the Dogs' home court. Anything can happen here. It's sold out crowd. Apparently, it's a very hostile environment. I love that in rivalry games. So I would not lay 6. I stayed away. James Madison's much better than Old Dominion, but I think the rivalry game has something to do with it today.
Yep, I agree.
All right, I'm going to take one from Kelly here, Matt, and then you get a 2-pack. First one, he asked about LaSalle at Lafayette. I'm with you, Kelly. I lean towards the dog. I just don't want to lay points with LaSalle. I think they're much better as feisty, competitive, junk the game up against a better team. This one's going to be ugly, low possession. I'll take the points with Lafayette, the Leopards, in that one. All right, Matthew, 2 power conference games. Well, kind of half power conference in one of them. K-State at LSU. There are the Tyler Perry suspension rumors swirling, but he did at least travel with the team. LSU laying 2 at home here. K-State off of overtime. What do you think?
I love LSU. Sorry, I don't love the team LSU, but it's similar to my Villanova handicap. It's just a great spot here. I just think the home team here wins. LSU has been really good, been really impressive, I think, against good teams. They've been kind of terrible against bad teams. I think they arrived to this one. A lot of time off. They hit this one.
Perry in or out, you don't care, basically?
I would prefer him not play, obviously, but I think
sure. But you'd bet if he does play.
I was gonna wait to take money line if he was in, because I feel like Perry has like that last second dagger ability that, like, if you're laying 2, he'll hit the BS shot to put it to 1 or something. But I don't know. Yeah, I prefer him not play, but I'm still taking the spot.
He's gonna play
too much. I think
he's gonna play.
All right, and then Matt, right back to you for your Beavers. You are the Oregon State expert here. They're hosting Utah Valley, only laying 3.5 to Utah Valley. Kind of tells you all you need to know about the Beavers right now. Are you riding with them at home?
They've been good in good spots, and I say good with the in quotations because, like, beating Appalachian State and beating Troy. So now they get Utah Valley, like, sort of in that same weight class. They've proven they can beat teams of this caliber in good spots, but man, they have not made any shots, and I just don't trust the supporting cast around Pope. I feel like whenever time Oregon State gets up like 7 points, they can't ever extend it. I wouldn't touch it. I'd stay away, but I lean Oregon State.
Okay. All right. Next up, Kai, Western Michigan hosting Youngstown State. Penguins, a 4.5-point favorite here. Western Michigan has had B. Artis White back in there, but they haven't been very good. Anything for you on that one?
Yeah, it came down, Jim. I think it's back up to 5, 5.5, 6 in some places now. That's the direction I lean. I lean towards Youngstown. Nothing strong.
The wins.
Game.
I punch back, Jim.
Yeah, I don't think Western Michigan's good at all.
Yeah,
Youngstown's got a pretty solid roster. Matthew, Coastal Carolina just had Cliff Ellis retire. They're now a 1-point home favorite against Wofford. Anything for you? Terriers maybe jumping on, or you get a home run effort with the new coach on the sideline?
This was number 2 on my do not bet ranking list, Jim. Yeah, the interim head coach rally around the new Gifford type of thing. Could certainly see that, and I've seen Wofford's defense give up 1 million points in a millisecond. So, hard stay away.
Okay. Kai, I'm just going to tell Pat Taylor hard stay away on Siena, St. Bonaventure, unless you want to tell him to take the Bonnies.
I put a little bit on the Bonnies. Yeah, it's a Franciscan Cup. Siena's taking money. Okay.
The number's hilarious. The number's hilarious.
Man.
It is fun. It's a ridiculous number, obviously, but my gosh. Bonnie's just beat Niagara by 30. Siena is losing to everybody by 30. I lean towards the Bonnies.
Rutgers and Seton Hall, Matthew. Big battle in New Jersey. Maywat Mag is debuting. I believe he's available in this game for Rutgers. That's significant. But are you betting this game at all?
No, I did lean toward Rutgers, but I worry I'm just a little too stubbornly attached to this Rutgers team, and their offense, Jim, as you pointed out in our group chat, just really hasn't looked in sync at all. Man, the under looks good in this game. I believe it finished at 97 was the total last year, like a 52 possession pace, something insanely disgusting. I lean the under just from a stupid historical precedent standpoint.
Yeah, 88 points last year and 50.
88 points, sorry.
Kai, Grand Canyon at Liberty, kind of an awesome mid-major matchup here that we haven't hit yet. Liberty laying 5 at home, Grand Canyon coming across the country. What do you think between these two?
Liberty. That's where I went. Yeah, crazy travel for Grand Canyon. Checking the spread now. 5 still pretty good, I think, for Liberty. Really hard to score inside against Liberty, the packed-in defense, and that's kind of where Grand Canyon's bread is buttered. So I think Liberty gets it done.
Yep, I'm with you. I took Liberty as well. I like the Flames at home. Matt, last one, I believe, on the outline, or not on the outline, sorry, from chat. Oklahoma and Arkansas, neutral site game in Tulsa between these two. It's been kind of a recurring annual rivalry. Oklahoma's been much, much better, hence they are 4.5, 5-point favorites. What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of lean toward OU, but I feel like Musselman as a dog is just not something that's advised betting against. And I think they have better talent here. It's banged up talent. It's not all the way healthy talent. Trayvon Brazil ankle looms large in this one. So I think is he in or out?
I thought he's out.
That's huge. He's for sure out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a bad sprain.
Why am I scared to bet OU? Just bet OU, Matt. They're a better team right now.
I took OU. Don't jinx it. I took OU.
Okay,
Don't
I'm betting
jinx
OU.
it.
I'll bet it with you. So if I jinx it, I'll be on the wrong side with you. I'm betting OU right now. Thank you.
Yeah, Arkansas is taking money. Maybe Brazil is announced in. I don't know. It's in Tulsa,
Could
by
have
the way.
been Musselman rope-a-doping, saying it's a really bad ankle.
Could be.
Yeah.
Even if he's in, I'd like OU at 3.5. Yeah.
Yep. Matt, we did hit James Madison. Just saw you asked about that. We think it's a big rivalry game. Nothing to take away there. All right, Kai, that is it for the chat.
All right.
So I guess we can sign off. And there's already games tipped. So we got basketball to watch.
Yeah, best bets, fellas. You got any best bets?
Right.
Let's put that in real quick. Hey, if you hit the like button, please, that'd be much appreciated. Would love to get 100 likes. We got the views for it. Let's get that like count up. Best bets. Can I put Matt on the spot first? Is he gonna be ready?
I am ready.
Okay.
I'm taking Cincy, Crosstown,
Cincy.
Rise, Bearcat Nation. Yeah.
Oh, how about that? Kai, I'm trying to look through, see what I think my best bet is. I'll go American on the road at VMI. Last I saw was 3.5. I would have taken it up to 5. It is 5 right now. So I will give out 5. The Eagles, I just don't think VMI is very good. Americans starting to round into form a little bit. They got bad shooting splits last game in the 12-point loss to St. Joe's. I think that was like an even game. So I will take American -5, Kai.
I'll take UC Davis. Laid 8.5 against Milwaukee. No BJ Freeman for Milwaukee's bad news Bears. Really tough travel for Milwaukee here, and I think Davis is pretty solid. I think they're gonna score a lot of points in this one.
I like it, Kai. I like it. Bonus, I'm going to go Sam Houston State, Missouri State under.
The Undertaker.
Yeah, 144 right now. I'll take that. So
That
there's
does
2.
seem high.
American -5, Sam Houston under 144.
Seems very high.
Awesome. All right, everybody out there, enjoy the basketball today. 102 games. Woof. Love it. We'll see you on Wednesday for our podcast if you're interested. 1 o'clock Central on Wednesday, same channel. And then another Best Bet show next week at 10 a.m. Central. All right, we'll see you then.